Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel here at C2 Tactical with Tim Forshee of Forshee Law. Again, the guy that I would call in Arizona if I had a defensive use of force. I'm not joking with you on that.
Means a lot.
That is who I would call. I've been asked that by other people too. He's the guy I would call. Of course, through Firearms Legal Protection is who I do it because, I mean, I don't want to pay his billing rates. I know what his billing rates are.
I don't want to pay my billing rates.
Yeah, nobody does.
Which is why I'm a member of FLP as well.
Yeah. So we have another Florida man for you.
Now, a lot of you, maybe you're from Florida, you're like, yeah, why are they always picking on Florida? Because you make it so easy.
Yeah.
You're 2% of the states, but you're 38% of the issues, it seems like. So sorry, it's just math.
I think some of it might be because of Florida's like mandatory transparency laws that makes them post a lot more of what happens to people rather than a lot of holding back. But also Floridians are crazy. You have giant flying cockroaches and alligators.
Yesterday, a guy got almost killed by an alligator because he wanted to get into the enclosure to get a better selfie.
Solid. Again, I was just in Tampa not too long ago, and giant flying cockroaches. Okay?
What does God have to do to tell you?
To tell you, not a good place to be. And we had one recently out of Florida of a dad who protected his child from a crazy neighbor and ripped a couple warning shots off in the air beforehand.
With an AR, right?
With an AR pattern rifle. So we're going to talk about that legally.
To win the fight after the fight, you need help. After a use of force, I trust Firearms Legal Protection to help me win the fight for the rest of my life. From their 24/7 attorney-answered hotline to coverage for the use of all legal tools, Firearms Legal Protection has you covered. Get a discount by signing up at the link below. This one's out of Port Orange, Florida. I have put a bunch of links in the description and the original that does have some audio, so it unfortunately has a song over it that's copyrighted, so I can't share that here. It'll get me strikes. So go watch that if you'd like to hear the original audio. This dude who is on the driveway here is a son and a friend, and then this guy that pulls up, like 5 people have called 911 on him this day here in the neighborhood. And he's been evicted from this neighborhood, but here he is still, and he's telling the son, F you, and I'm gonna kill you, and you're done for, because they drove by his house that he's getting evicted from. Again, it's a weird story. Now you're gonna see our homeowner who's inside watching basketball, and he is gonna come outside here with a rifle from the right-hand side, and when he does, he's actually going to fire a couple of warning shots up into the air, bang, bang. That's gonna make the dude back off. You see the old pupper is gonna come out there and see what's going on, and then this other guy who was in the car, not his son apparently, but one of his son's friends, is gonna come to the end of the driveway. You see the other young man there, who I think is his son, filming on his phone. And they are going to sit at the end of the driveway, and when our guy is going to then come back towards him and come back towards that guy in the driveway, he gets shot multiple times. Not only him, but he had a dog in the car that also got shot. That the dog is apparently going to make it, but the neighbor who was the aggressor in the pickup truck is not. You can go read all about it in the links in the description. Apparently, from everything I've been able to read, our homeowner who came out with the rifle has not been charged for anything. He is not expected to face any charges, and there's a whole lot on our aggressor here.
So this is an interesting one because, of course, Florida is the only state that I'm aware of that has an actual statute that says you can use warning shots.
You see, we're not just making this stuff up. Yeah.
And that was after a particular case that a woman used a warning shot to ward off, I think, her ex-husband, and was charged for that. And then the legislature was like, nah, man, that's not just. And so they made a law just for her that then applies to all Floridians. So you can, now not any shot can be considered a warning shot, but okay. It's the only state that I'm aware of that has that law. I'm involved in a case right now where a warning shot was fired by a defendant. It's a case I'm actually working for the prosecutor.
Good. Gives you credibility on the other ones too. So.
That I'm like, Fred, you can't do that. That's a crime. And he admitted it. He said so that it was a warning shot. I was like, you just admitted to aggravated assault, friend.
I had so many clients say, yeah, so I fired some warning shots.
Yeah, that's aggravated assault.
Made my job really easy, yeah.
So in Florida, I mean, well, obviously then, you guys have already watched it at this point. So he fires those couple rounds in the air, then comes this way. The dude, basically runs right towards where that other young man was. And so he shoots him a couple times and stops the threat. That takes his life. Unfortunately, shot the dog too. Yeah. Didn't mean to shoot the dog. Dog lived. And guy didn't. Well, sometimes stupid should hurt. Yeah. But if you're not living in Florida, Tim, what'd you think of those warning shots?
I guess I would predict that it sounds like there was a very sympathetic case. somebody in the Florida State Legislature latched onto that case and said, you know what, this is not fair. This should not always be illegal. Let's make it legal. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets changed. Because the reason warning shots are illegal, and the reason I think they should be illegal, is because if you think about it, is a warning shot lethal force?
Yes.
Yeah. I fired it into the floor. Well, you forgot you're on the second floor apartment. You just put it around through the couch in your neighbor's downstairs
Or
apartment.
in this case, I launched a 62, 55, 75 grain projectile into the air that is coming down somewhere.
And in theory, if you shoot it straight up, it's going to come down at about 140 miles per hour, and it's going to put a big dent in a car hood, or it's going to, sting and cause a knot on the top of your head. It probably won't kill you. But if you shoot it at a shallow angle, it's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And that's happened in Phoenix. It's happened elsewhere. It happens not infrequently. It happens. So warning shots inherently are, what do we call them? Lethal force.
Yeah.
They're lethal force. And when and only when can you legally use lethal force? When you're reasonably in fear for the imminent loss of a human life. If you fired a warning shot, by definition, you are not in fear for your life. You're in fear for becoming in fear for your life.
You are
Warning shots
trying
are
to
illegal.
put him at fear of death or great bodily injury.
And we get, and
That's aggravated assault.
law, it is. Legally, it's aggravated assault. Law-abiding people don't want to shoot people. I get it. We all get it. That's great. I want to give them one last chance to stop. Then you shouldn't be shooting at all.
This is where I think a strong defensive display of a firearm statute is very useful.
Correct. It can be. Again, if you're using it defensively instead of offensively, which a lot of my clients don't get the difference, but yeah.
So here in Arizona, we have a strong defensive display of a firearm statute. When I teach students legal force here in Arizona, I always say, ignore that.
Yeah, I'll bring it up if and when we need it. Don't you think you know about it?
Forget about it.
Yeah,
Just forget about it. Because if you forget about it,
and stupid. Yeah.
right. Because it says in Arizona, there's various things. You can inform that you have a firearm, or you can show it in a holster, or you can have your hand on it, or it says you can display it otherwise in a defensive manner, and that's not defined. Well, if you would like to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to the appellate level to figure out a good definition,
We'll define it.
Then we'll define it. We will have the Arizona Court of Appeals give us a definition.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be that guy, because that means I've been convicted of something bad.
That's right.
And then we've gone through the appeals process.
If you're talking about appeals, it went bad.
It went bad. We don't want that. So, even in Florida, man, I don't love warning shots from a practical perspective. I'm decreasing my capacity. I am giving away the initiative. I don't like it. And
you might also be provoking a response that might not have otherwise been provoked. Let's be honest about that too.
yeah, and again, if they are an imminent deadly threat,
Then shoot them.
then the warning should be, hey man, the next time I shoot you, it's going to hurt just as bad.
Exactly.
That's really what it should be.
I've had so many cases for ag assault where, and this is horrible to say.
You should have shot him.
Everybody lived, right? But you wouldn't be in trouble if you'd shot. Instead, you pulled out a gun and waved it around and yelled. And the argument is you weren't in fear for your life. If you had been in fear for your life, you would have shot.
You would have shot him.
And it's perverse that that's the way the system works, but that's the way the system works. So, and I'm not saying if you draw your gun, if you unsheath your samurai sword, it shall taste blood before you resheath it. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying that's the weirdness of the statute. Is
Think long and hard before you bring it out.
My favorite warning shot story, I don't know if I ever told you. Did I tell you about my client that was working at a strip club?
Oh, I want to hear this.
So clients working at a strip club. This is probably 25 years ago, which is weird because I'm only 27. But about 25 years ago, and this particular strip club in Scottsdale encouraged the bouncers to be armed, which as a former bouncer, I don't think is such a good idea.
Let's remember, being in a strip club violates all 4 rules
John
of stupid.
Farnham's rule, exactly.
All 4 of them.
Exactly. So all
5 of them.
some guys were being inappropriate to dancers, and they were asked to leave. And I think there were like 5 guys, and like 2 left, and 3 decided they were going to come back in. And they had OC. These guys had OC. So they gave them a snoot full of OC. And I think 2 of the 3 decided that was all the warning they needed, and they decided to clock out. The 3rd guy didn't get a full hit. He went to his truck and retrieved a shotgun. And now he's coming back into the club wielding a shotgun. My client,
Because he's going to get a lap dance with a shotgun?
Now, this is the story I'm getting from my client when he's in custody hours later, right? And he says, and the guy was coming at me with a shotgun, so I drew my pistol and I fired 2 warning shots into that big pile of rubble over there in the parking lot where they're refinishing the parking lot, and they scraped all the bricks and stuff over there into that big pile. So I fired 2 warning shots into that big, and I go, whoa, stop. The guy's coming at you with a shotgun.
Right.
And you fired 2 warning. Don't you mean that you were shooting to stop the attack with a shotgun and your rounds went
And
wide
you
right?
suck with a gun?
And he goes, that's so weird. That's exactly what the cop asked me. I go, what? He goes, yeah, the cop was taking notes. And he stopped taking notes. And he goes, are you sure you weren't in fear for your life? Because maybe those were just shots that went wide right. And he goes, no, they were warning shots. And that's what he told me as well. It's like the cop was doing everything he could to help this guy out. But nope, there were warning shots. Guys, I mean, that's one of my favorite stories because it's like just this naivete, innocent moron guy that thought he was doing the right thing that didn't know the law.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legal in Florida, which I just learned from my friend, the expert here, but I tell you, it's stupid anyway.
Now let's talk about the smart way here, right? Okay, so my kids come home and the crazy butthole neighbor is outside and he's doing that. Okay, I might grab the rifle if the rifle is available and stage myself and tell those kids back behind me, everybody behind me, and I go, hey, off down the road, buckaroo, and don't come on my property, man, because you're scaring the crap out of me. Somebody call the cops and just get everybody in the house and get behind a door.
Yep. I would be in the house as well, and I'd be on the phone with the cops, and I'd be hunkered down in a safe position with as much cover as possible with an AR-15, and if he breaches my front door, I probably shoot him. But I am not leaving my fortress unless one of my kids is outside or there's some compelling reason to go outdoors.
Now for me,
lock yourself in your fortress.
My long gun of defense of choice is a shotgun.
Yeah.
Is a shotgun because nothing says we gave it the office like 8 pellets of flight control. Okay, 8 pellets of double aught.
Flight control, I love it. Yeah,
eight pellets of double aught are persuasive. However, an AR pattern rifle is a wonderful tool, and again, I think that at the end of the day, this dad was justified to shoot this guy. No question about that. You do that in Sheriff Grady Judd's jurisdiction, and he'll probably, extol you in song and in lore. He gives no truck to the bad guys. He's one of the funniest sheriffs in America.
I love these meetings with you. Gosh, darn it. So,
he's funny, man.
Yeah,
he's hilarious. I think sometimes he lets kind of cowboys be cowboys, but it's Florida, so hey,
that's how it works.
That's how it goes there. Warning shots bad. Don't use warning shots.
Warning shots are bad. And again, like John said, the common sense approach to this thing is, why are you outside? Why is your kid in bare feet with a camera recording this? Get in the house. We know this guy's a psycho. He's driving a truck. How many foot-pounds of energy does a truck have? Millions. Get in the house. Call the cops. Well, the cops aren't going to respond very quickly. I know. Get them on the way. If they're in 45 minutes, then you're locked in your house for 45 minutes. You're not risking a murder rap. You're not risking having to take a human life that you could have otherwise avoided. Stay in the house, lock the doors.
And one that didn't get a lot of play on the main channel, one little lesson out of this one too, was that that video that I put out on the big channel was posted by the man who used deadly force. He posted it. Of course, the district attorney had said, whatever, dude, you're good, have a nice day. Yeah. However, a bunch of neighbors in the neighborhood said he was a murderer. And so he was getting dragged in the neighborhood. So he posted it online to show, no, this is what happened.
The people that say that, it's not going to help.
It's not going to help.
No.
It's not going to help. I mean, it helped me. I was able to make a lesson for all of you out of it.
The mark of Cain is a real thing, guys. I mean, it could be the most justifiable shooting in the world. You're going to lose half your friends. Yep. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your marriage.
Yep. All real. Avoid if you
don't do it if you can avoid doing it. Yeah.
Yep. Also, remember, warning shots. Stupid. Don't do them.
Even in Florida. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Florida man.
Even in Florida. Thanks, Tim.
Always.